Bruh, do not leave this ad right now. Why? Because I got to talk about my podcast, the Paid and Exposure Podcast, which, by the way, is geared to black and brown photographers. Or if you're not black or brown, it's just geared to photographers, especially the ones that ever been paid or tried to be paid in exposure. You know what I'm talking about. But guess what? I was going to do this crazy ad with this board, but let me show you the board. Funny thing was, I was going to get this dope location, right? Betty's Ford, Trinity Park, Sunset. I'm from Charlotte, by the way, not Hawaii, whatever. And then I was going to get a hot chick. The wife said no. I was going to get me a Ferrari, because I was going to let you know if you read 1,000,000 books, you can get a Ferrari, and then, it didn't work, right? Then I was going to do a bunch of digits in there and make you think that we all going to make millions, because we are. Then I was going to tell you, you need to follow the podcast. But guess what? If you stick around a little bit longer right after this, it's my first episode. I'm introducing the podcast. It's going to let you know what it's about. Be sure to follow. Why we're going to be talking about equipment. We're going to talk about how I'm a Canon shooter and how I got a 5D and I really want a mirrorless camera, and it ain't gonna happen no time soon because Canon is just playing. But I want to welcome you. I want to thank you, and thank you for not clicking off. I hope I made this somewhat interesting. I do a lot of ignorant stuff. My mama's gonna call me about this later. I just click them.
Perfect.
I don't even know how to start this off since it's the first episode, but how do we want to do this? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Gavin, aka Gavo, aka Coke, aka whatever you want to call me. If you're listening right now, it's a big time in my life. I'm going in a different direction, but it doesn't even matter because we're going to get to that in a little bit. I have a special guest with me. I'm starting a new venture, and I needed the right person to come in and help me introduce this podcast, to help me to give this to the world. And I went through probably about 5 or 6 people, no lie. She only knows about one other person. And then I was scrolling on Instagram. She came up on my Instagram, and I told my wife, I was like, I got the perfect person to do this with me. And that person is none other than Ty. What's going on, girl?
Hey, what's up? I'm so happy to be here. You guys, with that introduction, it makes me have to fill a lot of shoes. But I'm telling you, the opportunity to work with this guy is more than I could have ever asked
So
for.
we didn't work before.
Yes, but
It
to
was
work
fun.
with you on actual project, like legitimate, talk about your dreams, your goals, everything you're doing, like, hey, that's 100.
It's going to be interesting. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm used to always being a host, so please excuse me for anything I do, such as look up, look away, laugh, whatever. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to let you take this away. We're going to introduce this podcast midway through, but I'm going to let you do your thing. You do your thing, and I'm just your guest. So what's up?
So what's up? Okay, I'm here with the Gavin B. Where if you don't know him, he is the most exquisite and amazing photographer here in
Lies.
Charlotte, North Carolina. When I tell you, from photo challenges to photo walks to teaching the next set of entrepreneurs, he is it. So we're here to learn all about his journey, how he wants to cater to black and brown photographers, but most importantly, how you can gain something from him. So I want to start out. Who are you, Gavin?
Oh, my gosh. So how do we do this? I'm a photographer,
Yes.
as you know.
Yes.
I'm from Charlotte. Born and raised.
704, baby.
704. Shout out to everybody from Charlotte, man.
Hey.
Especially shout out to my boy Luke, who's on Dreamville, who I think had the #1 rap song last week. But anyway, so I'm a photographer. I was born and raised here. I started doing photography in college.
Okay.
My wife is in the background running the cameras if anybody's watching this. And she's not going she's heard this before. I was using photography to talk to girls. It was so easy in college. So it was like, oh, you need a new Facebook page? You need a new Facebook picture? Let's go take pictures. So it was like easy meeting different chicks. And so what ended up happening was I stopped doing that. You've been in college. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You go to college, you graduate, you know you're going to get that 6-figure payday
Oh,
right after.
absolutely.
Like as soon as you graduate, the job is there for you. So I
Absolutely.
leave college. That didn't happen.
Okay. No? Oh, right.
Yeah, exactly. So I do that. But what ended up happening is someone I knew said, hey, I need graduation pics.
Okay.
And he paid me, and the rest has been like history. It's been some dips, some highs, some lows, but nonetheless. So that's a little bit of who I am.
Okay, so what are you currently shooting with? If I'm just starting out, what do I need to know?
So first of all, I shoot with Canon. I don't care who you are right now. Please get a Canon. It's the best. I love a Canon. So I shoot with a Canon 5D Mark IV. I saved up 2 years for this camera. I'm looking at my wife. She's not paying us no mind. So anyway, been shooting with this for I saved up for 2 years. Got it for Christmas. I got it on sale. And I've loved it ever since. Sony is kicking Canon's ass as far as mirrorless
That's what
cameras.
I definitely have.
Yeah. So Sony is where it's going to be, maybe. I don't know, but I shoot with a Canon. I love it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, what's the goal of today? I know you want to cater to black and brown photographers, but why specifically that demographic? Why those people, which by those I mean me, because
And
I'm
me.
brown.
And my wife, she's brown too. So, all right, let's do it like this. I'm online.
Yeah.
I'm watching all these photographers who I love, who I'm, fans of. I'm literally fans of. And I'm noticing that a lot of them, I'm looking at different photographers and all of them have different avenues and people they cater to.
Yeah.
So, some don't cater to any demographic. Shout out to Manny Ortiz. That's one guy. He's a Sony shooter. He's amazing. They call him the Walmart Drake.
Oh,
literally.
Okay.
He's Hispanic.
All right.
He has a beard just like Drake. He loves to be called that. Anyway, so I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at this other lady. Her name is Joy. I am Joy. She's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Amazing
yeah.
videos. And I'm noticing, I'm like, who is speaking to black and brown photographers?
Yeah.
And I'm noticing no one is. Everybody's kind of general because it's still a small group of us. Everybody wants to be a photographer. Everybody
Oh my
wants to
goodness,
be a
do
model. And so, and you looking at me and I'm like, man, who's speaking to my people? Being an African American male and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to be doing. I'm like, who's speaking? Because I have experiences that nobody else goes through.
Yeah.
Asian photographers don't go through this,
Right.
not that I know of.
Right.
White photographers don't go through this that I know of. And it hits close to home because my wife is Puerto Rican. So she's brown and she's Latina. So I don't know anyone that's speaking to her demographic. Hopefully somebody will come in there later who can speak directly to her people because they have experiences I have never
Right.
experienced.
Shout out to los puertorriqueños. Hey, qué guay.
She speaks Spanish, by the way, everyone. I learned this firsthand in public on a shoot. So, so I'm starting a podcast. The podcast is called The Paid in Full. Excuse me. It's a play off of Paid in Full. It's the Paid in Exposure podcast.
Yes.
It's a play off the words with Paid in Full because as anybody in the hip hop community know, anybody in the black community, I think you lose cool points if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we're playing off the name because so many photographers get presented opportunities where it's like, hey, I'm going to pay you an exposure.
Absolutely.
So
not.
that's what I'm doing. And I want to cater to everyone just because there's so many experiences that we don't.
And I want to make sure I highlight, shout out to everybody who wants to be a photographer or everybody wants to be a model because we've all known that person that hits you up and it's like, oh, I want to take pictures. And then you're like, ooh, you want to take pictures with me?
Oh, gosh.
What?
And, well, you know how it is. Well, for me, I'm a photographer, so I get models who, they're not models.
Yeah.
And you're a very beautiful woman. I've seen you out there. I've seen you work. I'm pretty sure you get DMs of photographers, and they ain't
My
photographers.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Have I look at their page. I'm like, you got 5 photos shot with an iPhone X. Get out of here.
And then you know what happened? They always shoot the music videos, and they need another girl for their music video.
Why did I get that this morning? Did you look on my page or
Well,
something?
I just know
like, for
those
real,
guys.
I got that this morning.
I probably like twice a week I get a girl who say, hey, this guy wants me to be in this music video. What should I do? I say, you should run.
You should say no, definitely.
Delete him right now.
Definitely. Okay, so to the black and brown photographer, I know you talked about your experiences that are unique to you, and I can admit, usually people are trying to undersell this community. We start to work with our friends, and we feel like we're not progressing.
Absolutely.
And I see it. I'm like, you're not asking that particularly white photographer to go less on their prices, but you want to ask me. You want to ask me for less. Why is that? Where do you think that comes from?
It comes from undervaluing ourselves.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at it like this. It's easy to ask your homeboy, your friend, your homegirl, like, hey, look out.
Yeah.
Right?
Got you.
And so what ends up happening is, in our community, people come to us and they say, hey, let's say I wanted to book you for a hosting.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna say, all right, shit, sister, she gonna look out.
She gonna look out for me.
Okay,
right?
so maybe, I'm throwing out a number. Let me lowball it so low that people know that this is what people don't get paid. So let me just say, let's say somebody comes to you and they know the average host gets $20 an hour. They don't get that. So do not reach out to anybody saying you want to pay them
Please
$20 an
don't.
hour because you will get rejected or
I will
embarrassed.
put you on my Instagram story. I will
So-
screenshot that and
so-
put you on my story.
So they look at you and they say, you know what? Yo, this the homie. She'll look out. Let me offer her 10. But then they want you to overwork. And I think it comes because we don't value ourselves and enough. Let me put it like that. And we are growing.
Yeah.
As a community, we're growing to understand like, hey, you know, the average right now in Charlotte, North Carolina, the average wedding is $2,200 for photography, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, but there's people in Charlotte, and I know these people. They will not show up to your wedding for less than $5,000. They do not care what you want. They don't, you know, they have their packages, 6 hours. I will be there, and I want to shout out to this photographer, but I don't know if she want her business out like that. So, but she's amazing, but she understands her value. You know what I'm saying? So what ends up happening is you say, hey, I know my value. I know the value of my people. And then we got to understand that some of us don't have the same resources as other communities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so we just overcharge. And a lot of communities overcharge. That's in every community. Let me just throw that out there. But in our community, it's like, hey, maybe we don't have the resources. Maybe we're lowballing ourselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always have in mind, well, if it was me, I'll look out too.
Yeah.
And that's a lie. Well,
Yeah.
we know how that goes.
And if you don't understand, if you're coming into this show brand new to photography, if you're trying to get an understanding, it's not about the photography itself.
Absolutely.
It's not about the photography. I want to make sure that he explains when it comes to editing and it comes to quality and it comes to finding that unique part of that person to film or to photograph. That's the part of where you're getting a good photographer, because I can do a lot of the same things with a high aperture camera and they're going to look good. But do I have the quality in editing? Do I have the understanding of how to piece this together to where the wow factor? So that's why you have to know your value.
Check this out. Do you even have the time? You're a busy woman.
Do I have the time?
You do not.
Hell no, I don't have the time.
We've been talking about this for like 2 weeks to get you here, and you were like, I got to put on my calendar now, because if it ain't here, I ain't going to be here.
I sent him a calendar invite. Let's block this time off.
You made sure I accepted the calendar invite.
And I've sent it twice.
Exactly. And so let's look at it like this. I look at it, every great business there is, doesn't matter where it's at. Let's go low ball again so we don't leave nobody out. You get a different experience at Chick-fil-A than you do at McDonald's.
Absolutely.
The prices are different too.
Yeah, and so are the people.
And so are the people. Let's go.
Jesus.
And you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with me. I provide an experience. I look at it and I say, hey, Ty, let's do a shoot like we did last time. Me and you are talking. We're looking at different looks. We're looking at locations. The only thing you have to do physically is, you know, worry about the makeup part, the outfit part, and showing up.
Yeah.
And paying. You know, after that, your job is pretty much easy. But it's my job to make sure that, hey, A, you're not uncomfortable, and we can get in that.
No, yes, we will.
So, A, you're not uncomfortable. B, you're having a good time. Because let's say you are comfortable, but you're just not having a good time.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there.
You show that in your photos, your posture,
Absolutely.
your smile.
And so then, let's say we shoot for an hour, we go home. Then I got to go through, I'm actually going to sit down. I'm going to go through all your pictures.
Yeah.
Because let's say I give you 2,000 pictures back.
Oh my gosh.
And only 100 of them are good. You're going to notice the 1,900 that was terrible.
Yeah.
But
and
let's
I'm going to blame you instead of me.
Exactly. But let's say I give you 100 back. And you're like, wow, these are all amazing. You're going to focus on that. You might ask me for more, or can you see more?
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother thing with photographers. And because if you are watching this and you are paying attention, you're already a photographer, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, be sure to look out for my other channel, because that's when we're going to start talking to people who not in photography, maybe in modeling, or they just interested. But if you're listening, you're a photographer. And so you got to understand you are giving an experience.
Yeah.
So when I'm out with my models, I'm talking to them. I'm learning about them. Why? Because like this opportunity, when I reached out to you, I was pretty confident you were going to say yes. Only thing that I was scared of, only thing I was scared of is she's just going to be too busy, because you are a busy woman. You was on a red car. I know. No, she trying to play y'all.
I will make time for the people that I know that are amazing. Like, I will make time for the things I know will succeed.
Well, isn't that beautiful?
It's
Thank
the
you.
truth.
And so I do provide an experience. So it's different. So I have to give that back to the client.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it is let's say you're not a photographer and you're watching this, I do try to provide an experience.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, because I love repeat business. I love getting an email later like, hey, I want to use you for this. Hey, let's shoot again. Hey, you know, let me go. You doing my engagement, you done my wedding. Let's do
my baby pictures.
You gonna do my baby pictures. And I will tell you, if your kid is between 2 and 5, I will not be taking their pictures.
Hey,
but I will catch them once they 6. After that, we're good. But yeah.
I should follow it up with my pleasure then.
Yeah.
my pleasure with the Chick-fil-A sense of things.
So it's fun. So it's always an experience there. But I kind of want people, when they're listening to this podcast, we're gonna go over like crazy amount of topics, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about workflow, like what it's like what I just explained there. Like, how do I give my client the first wow factor to
Yes.
the delivery of images, to the follow-up, to the upselling. Like, that's something I just have learned in the last, like, probably month or two, is upselling.
Upselling, yeah.
My wife has been upselling since the day I met her.
Yeah.
In my personal wedding life
Get
also.
this. And if you don't understand, oh my gosh, if you don't understand from a woman's perspective, hey baby, I love you.
It's the setup.
I like these shoes.
It's the setup.
So, but you know what? It also, this dress is really nice. We should probably put that on there.
Wow.
You know what? These earrings would go really well with that.
Wow.
And then I just keep upping. So I'm upselling. Women, it works.
It definitely works. Trust me
It
on that.
works.
So, but in her personal life, in her job, she upsells, and she's been telling me to upsell for the longest, for years. And I'm good. But then,
Women know best. Clearly, his wife knows everything. Like, he should
and
listen.
if you're a male photographer, just ride with me. You gotta learn how to shut up, because women have been held back for so long. So you just gotta shut up and listen and take this comment I'm gonna say. Men are lazy. So with that being said,
Wait, can I get that on camera? Can you
It's
look
definitely
at the
on-
camera? This one right here. Can you?
men are lazy. That is a
Thank
fact.
you. That'll be on record, you guys. I'm signing that off.
So with that, but once you do learn that,
Yeah.
and you learn that there is a such thing as upselling, you will make so much money and you will do less work. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about workflow. I want to talk about bad clients.
Mm.
I want to talk about creating a great experience. I want to talk about, like, equipment you need. Right now, they can't see it, but right now we have 3 lights. It's like 2 lights that don't work. It's lights on the other side that don't work. We got 2 mics, a laptop. It's a lot of stuff here
Yeah.
that this studio that we're in probably has bought and didn't need.
Right.
But it happens.
Right.
And sometimes you'll buy something and you be like, oh, I got to get this next. I got to get that next. And you just overspend.
Oh my gosh, this is the story of my life, you guys. As a person that's not a photographer, that just does a lot of media hosting, I have about 3 mics. I have about 2 cameras. I just sold one. I have light stands, ring light stands. And then I hired a whole team to come and shoot my stuff.
Exactly. And it's just like, why did I
Don't
buy all
use
this
it.
stuff? And then and
$7,000.
here's the funny part. You start convincing yourself, like, oh, I might need it for this later.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
because
right.
I can shoot myself and edit and do it. Absolutely cannot.
While cooking.
Yeah, well,
And you-
exactly.
And it don't. And you just like, it's too much work.
Yeah, I set my house on fire. It was
So
an accident.
I definitely want to have those things. I definitely want to bring people on. I have a couple of guests that's coming on this first season. It's only
Yeah.
like 8 shows. I want to keep it short. I
Okay.
want to make sure people are able to, like, take the information in. As you know, as they know, I talk a lot. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, well, she's lying, by the way.
Well,
So-
then let me cut in my question, my next one.
What's up?
Okay, so you talked about workflow. You talked about upselling.
Mm-hmm.
So what is one thing that is a do, you have to do this, and what is an absolute don't for a black and brown photographer? So if you're just coming in the middle, or if you fast forward, you understand we're talking about the experience of the black and brown photographer and how to understand who we are and who's catering to our audience, because that's what we look like and that's what we do.
It's a great
What is a
question.
do and a don't?
As a black photographer, what I will say a do is work within your own community, and give back.
Okay.
Also, a follow up on that is don't be afraid to ask questions and ask for help.
Okay.
Pride kills a lot of people, and it sounds so simple, and it sounds like it just sounds so cliche.
Okay, so then that leads into my next question about, you start to work with your friends. Even with myself, I sell retail line. I start to notice my friends are always buying
Let
my
me get that.
clothes. Look, they're always in it. So you talked about just working with the people around you and you feel like you're stagnant.
So
why?
What happens is you start working with people around you and you keep working with them, and then you just feel like nobody else is booking me.
Yeah.
But what's happening is you're not getting no new challenges. That's why you become stagnant.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when I first started out, shout out to her, my little sister was my only model I could get, right?
Aw.
And so I kept shooting her. I say little, she's only like a year younger than me. She's going to be mad when she sees that. So anyway.
All big brothers think that.
Basically. And so I always shot with her. And I kept noticing, like, nobody booking me. And I'm like, why not? And the reason why is because I was only shooting her.
Right.
I wasn't trying to reach out to other people to
Okay.
shoot. And I actually have a guy right now. I do one-on-one lessons. And he was sitting in my home yesterday, and me and him are going through everything. And he's like, man, he said, I wanted to invest and ask you every question that if I would meet you on the street, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation.
Right,
And I was
right.
like, that's cool. And I was like, well, I would have asked you. I would have answered anything. Like,
Yeah.
anything you would have asked, I would have answered. And he was like, no, you would have been distracted, or you might have been like, all right, I got to go. He said, so I wanted to pay to sit here and talk to you. And we probably talked for 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But it's one of those things. That's why I say, don't be prideful. Don't be afraid to literally say, hey, why are my pictures grainy?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to elevate my pictures? And don't be afraid to work with somebody that gets you out of the box. Now, to your other part of your question, what don't you want to do? Don't get caught up in shooting one style only.
Okay.
Until you tried everything else out and realize, like,
This is your niche.
this is my niche. This is what I like. And I don't want to sound too ignorant on the first episode.
It's okay.
If you're a male photographer, even if you're a female photographer, don't try to sleep with models.
Oh my gosh! You know what? For those who don't understand that means you don't do this.
Yeah,
with the
you
people
don't
that you're trying to work with.
Don't put it in there.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and
it will come back to you later.
It will come
and
back.
They will tell another person that you did this, and then no one wants to work with you.
Then you be on the news.
Oh yeah, because that's happening right now.
Yeah, well, it's happening in Charlotte. So with that, and I always say that, and I told a guy there yesterday. He was like, "What's one thing you want to stick with me?" And I use something more, straightforward and blunt. I said, don't F the models.
Yeah.
That was a nice way of putting
Yes.
it. And I told him that, and I said, bro, I was like, he laughed, and he was like, no, I know you serious. And I was like, no, I'm very much so. And it's because of a couple of things. Also, fellas, this is number 2. Like I said, women, we have to make up so much for what we've done to women in the wrong way. Here's another thing. So here it is. Half of the girls that you shoot, not even half, like 90 of the girls that you shoot, either don't like men, and they definitely don't like you. You got to just keep that in your mind.
Oh my gosh.
And so you have to understand, like, hey, she doesn't like me. Like, no matter what she's shooting this for or who she's shooting this for, it's not for me. The money was for me. That's it. You record, you edit, you deliver, you follow up.
I'm almost laughing in my brain right now because so many times they're like, do you like that? And I'm like, why are you DMing me right now?
Exactly.
We are not effing friends.
We're not friends.
I paid you for a service. Give me my photos. Move on.
And let's keep it moving. So those are my 2 things. Don't do and do. And, it's just that simple.
Okay, so I definitely want to go into the more spicy, caliente, the crazy thing. All right, me not being a model, I'm totally not a model at all. I love Instagram, but I'm not going to make money with this, okay?
Okay.
So, what are the craziest things? Because I know my crazy experiences, like literally tried to pull something down for more boob exposure. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? What is the crazy experience you've had with that?
As far as shoots,
Yeah.
let's see. It's something she knows about, but I'm trying to figure out, is there even a nice way of putting it? All right, I shot a group of women, and I shot them, and I'm like, what? I show up at this house, and I'm shooting. I'm setting up. I'm like, man, something ain't right. I'm just in a room. I'm like, what is going on
If
here?
you find yourself in this position, you are wrong. It is your fault.
What happened is they had saw some of my boudoir work. So they were like, we want to book you. And I was like, all right, cool. What time? Yeah. So that was the other thing. And it was like, it's just 2 of us. And I said, okay, fine. Because that happens. A lot of girls, here's my thing. If you're a model watching this, always bring a friend with you to a shoot, unless if you don't feel comfortable or you're scared,
absolutely.
Always bring somebody. So when she said I have a friend with me, I said, that's fine. I don't it got to be just us. I don't do that. So what ended up happening was I get there and I get in this room and I'm setting up, and I notice it's like towels somewhere, and it's like it's a warmer in this room, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And so fast forward, we shoot in this boudoir. It's no nudity. It's definitely some risque pictures. Had no idea this girl was doing porn.
Oh, okay.
And so
it's her portfolio.
It was definitely for a portfolio.
Oh, congratulations.
And so I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is funny. And so I'm laughing, and then she sent like her biography page. And so another time I was in Vegas for my bachelor party, and out there, this is less uncommon out there, but it was the first time this ever happened. And this girl kept wearing these outfits, and she had on like a schoolgirl outfit and like the tie up here.
Oh,
and
no.
she was is busty the right word? Thank you. The wife told me. I didn't look at you to see, but anyway. Busty was, and she just had breasts that was like pouring out. So I'm like, and that was one
monster
outfit.
truck titties.
And so, And
Just
so
out
the
there.
next outfit, like, cheeks out. I'm like, what's going on? So I was like, what do you do? She's like, oh, I'm a BBW model on Pornhub. I said, oh, you do porn?
Oh.
Because she was like, well, yeah, it's cool. And I was like,
Oh,
cool.
so casual.
And so I just
Which
need
is nothing
to know.
wrong. There's no judgment.
No judgment at all because the money cleared. The problem. So I was good on it, but it was one of those things where I was like, I didn't want to share because I didn't, some things I don't share just because
That's not your audience.
it's not my audience. Some things I know how to do. I do have a section. This is another tip to any photographer out there. If you do risque pictures and have it on your website somewhere, make sure you get all model consent. I get it written so I don't get in trouble. But I have it somewhere on my website that if someone say, hey, do you do this? I can just forward them there.
Right.
And keep it moving.
Right. And it's not a public thing.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And it's not that we're trying to pass judgment on anybody. It's because people don't understand limits. It's about knowing your audience. It's about knowing the people they're going to pay. If you're doing wedding photos and you have all these beautiful little Christian camp photo sessions and all of a sudden you just got BBW cheeks popping up and it's going to get a lot of hits. That's the only thing people are going to see about you.
I'm doing a wedding bridal show and it's uptown at a hotel.
Yeah.
Got my my computer. It's a 27-inch Mac, right? So it's my website. And so I have a mouse there so people can come through and click on the galleries. Well, somebody clicked on the boudoir section.
Oh no. And they probably left it up.
And when she did it, there was a lady behind her. It was her mom. And the girl looked at me and was like, I love these. Can I book a session? Her mom gave her the, this is the Bible belt.
Gosh.
You are going to hell. And I don't think I can remember is I need to put a lock on that or I just need to
password protected.
Yeah, I was like, I can't, because it turned some people off.
Right.
And I understand that that's how that is. So I'm like, okay, cool. Everything is a learning opportunity also.
Okay. Sorry, I just burped. So with paid and exposure. Okay. I wanted to ask about that.
Oh gosh. What's up?
Tell me. What is that like?
What is it like? You know what it's like. You're a media person. It's like when, hey Gavin, I love your work. Okay. There's a formula. You know this formula too, whether you realize it at first, but the formula is I come to you, I butter you up.
Oh yeah.
I tell you how cool you are. I'm pretty sure
you are so amazing, Gavin. You're the love and care that y'all provide to the world.
I wish I had my soundboard so I can just do the horns and the claps because she's telling the truth. Exactly. But as a female, I'm pretty sure you ladies get, hey, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. Oh my gosh, you're so special. And then for me as a photographer, it's buttering me up, kissing my tail about my photography and how cool it is and how you would love to work with me. Then what comes is I would love to work with you. And of course, I always say this back. I don't care who it is. I would love to work with you also. Because I would. It's a couple of things I won't do.
Right.
But it ain't a lot. And so I always try to cater my different networks so people can see what I'm into and what I'm not. So anyway, so they tell me what the job is, the gig is. And then it's just like, this is when they take like a deep breath. It's better when it's in person, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then they take that deep breath and they say, hey, I want to tell everybody about what you do.
Okay, you see my face right now, right?
I want to tell everybody. I
want to post it on my page.
I want to post it on my page so all of my followers can see what you've done for me. And so let me tell you about the first time this ever happened to me. And for the sake of my wife and her not stopping this whole interview, I'm not going to give the name. So, because she knows this person. So, anyway, my cousin at the time, he's working for a modeling group in North Carolina. He's like, hey, I want you to come by and meet this lady. She's great. She does this whole fashion thing. It's going to be great. I want you to come in and sit with her. So I get in there and I sit down, and the lady she's probably only seen like a little bit she only seen a little bit of my photography, but more of my graphic design, right?
Okay.
And so she's like, yo, love it. It's great. It's beautiful. I want to do this. I want to, this is going to work for me. And so I'm like, great. So I'm thinking she wants my photography. Come to find out she wants to do just my graphic design stuff. So I'm like, that's fine. That's easy. That's a quick, at that time I was probably charging like $30 a flyer. I'm like, that's quick gas for the week.
Yes.
I'm good. So, and I'm like, all right, fine. So I'm sitting there and I go, money hasn't came up in this 25-minute conversation. So I'm like, something ain't right. And so I'm like, so who do I send my invoice to, my cousin or you? And she's like, oh no. Well, we're going to be working out of Bubble. So you were living here when Bubble was popping in Charlotte, in the Epicenter?
Yeah.
So she was like, we're going to put your flyer up in Bubble, and we're going to put it, you know, in the Epicenter. The Epicenter, for anybody who's not in Charlotte, is like this. It's like the tiniest
a
version
tri-level
of
club, yeah.
Basically, it's like the smallest version of Times Square.
It really is, but it can be really fun.
It can be fun when you're drunk. So, and it's like, she was like, I'm going to put it in the Epicenter, and I'm going to show people. And when you get there, people are going to see your logo at the bottom of the flyer. And I was like, wait. Well, who else is going to be on the flyer? She was like, well, my company, Bubbles company, the beverage company, the host people. Look, I was like, no.
No.
She was like, well, the exposure is going to be great for you.
No.
And I walked out of that meeting mad because I had wasted like 45 minutes of my life. And I had left, you know how it is, you leave work early, so you already know you're getting fussed at for leaving early.
Yes.
Then I go over there for this BS, and then I was just like, yo, this can't work. And then, you know, when I was a single young man out here, thotting and botting, you know, I would get all, definitely lying. My wife knows she was my first girlfriend ever. So when I was out there, and it was always those girls, like the super pretty girl who was saucing you up, making you think like you're the man.
Yes.
It's like, yo, but I'm going to share this on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, it can't work. It can't.
Right.
And so finally, you know, I made a video actually like a month ago about exposure and about getting paid in exposure. And a lady reached out to me after that. And she wrote me, told me she wanted me to come up to Raleigh, which is 2.5 hours from Charlotte, to shoot her for her son's prom. But she wanted pictures after he left. And then she was like, I'm going to share it with everybody. She had like 50,000 followers. And then she was like, just saw your video, never mind. And she blocked me. And I was like, why did you even block me? I didn't even get to say nothing back. Like, so that happens. That's my exposure story. The funny part is I'm in several groups online.
Yeah.
And every photographer has at least 5. That's amazing. You have some. Somebody, I can guarantee somebody has reached out to you and wanted you to do something for completely free, no trade, no nothing, no. They just wanted to be able to tell people that you was able to do this.
Oh, I'm telling you.
And it's disgusting.
I'm still waiting on my payment. You know who you are.
Uh-oh.
You know who you are.
Pay up.
Yes.
Give us the money. Run that check.
Yes.
So
Run me my money.
Exactly. And
Yes.
so that's the thing about getting paid in exposure. So it's a play on that. I know photographers, no matter what color you are, no matter who you are, male or female, black, white, you know, Latina, Asian, no matter who you are, you have an exposure story, and it's actually funny. It's comical. Yeah. The other part that's funny is when photographers actually reach out to you and they want to pay you an exposure because they want pictures themselves. That's even a bigger joke, but it happens.
I think that's hilarious. I think that, and you know, sometimes, and this is my shady moment with that.
Oh, let's do it.
Some of y'all are not photographers. Like,
well, they got the iPhone 10.
Yes, which is great, especially if you get the 10. Like, it's good, but I want you to ask yourself, like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you like to take photos right now? Like, why? If you cannot answer that for yourself right now, then reconsider some things. But
so for me, I love taking pictures just because I love providing a good experience.
Yeah.
And I love to create an experience, and I love giving good work. And I'm one of those people who I love to recreate things. There's photographers who like to create things. There's photographers who like to recreate things. I'm of the latter. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. So when I say I like to recreate things, I might see something that might spark my mind. I'll be like, I want to do this, but I want to add a person to it. And I love doing that and providing like quality. My thing is my photography style. Every photographer that's listening, you have a style. Find it. If you don't find it, run with it.
Yes.
But my style is always clean, just realistic, clean photos. Like that's my thing. I know some photographers who like the rustic. Some people like the green and orange. And
or you mean the people that know how to put a filter on it and then still give you the photo back?
You said, and so all right, let's go here. This is gonna be the funny part.
Oh, they just put the black shadows around it?
Yeah, but that's that's always the fun part too.
And they do it to all the photos and send it back
everyone. They just send it right back to you. So there's a thing. Another reason why I really wanted to cater this to black and brown photographers because Besides the fact, and we'll get into this a little bit, one of the bigger things that happens with black and brown photographers is the editing process, right?
Yes.
Working with, as photographers that's out there, no matter who you are, you will notice some photographers do not shoot people of color. Now,
Okay.
I'm very fair. I'm albino, so I'm light. So
What? If you didn't know that.
If you didn't.
I didn't know that.
So, thank you.
I thought my brother looks like him, so I just figured y'all all
we're
got a genetic
family.
coolness.
So, with that, any photographer can shoot me pretty much if you know what you're doing, right? A photographer might not shoot with you because you're darker than me.
Yeah.
And they might say, I don't know how to edit her. I don't know where to position her in the sun. I don't know what works great with her skin tones.
Right.
Some photographers do not do that. They won't say it. But it's usually that photographer that only does the airy green and orange photos. It's those photographers. And that style, I will say, is leaving now because I think most photographers have been called out on it.
Yeah.
And shout out to what is her name? Jessica Book and Blooms. Find her on Facebook. She has a group. It's like 90,000 people in there. Me and her had a back and forth. You know me. I ain't scared to commit anybody on social media.
He will stir the pot, beat the pot, throw it, boil it, throw hot water in your face. It's fine.
And walk off. And so me and her had an exchange. And I told her, I said, hey, love your work. Her prices are, I wish.
Right.
Like one session, like her couple sessions start at $1,700. They're like ridiculous. And like, but I told her, I was like,
wrong?
I know, right? And so I was like, hey, I like your work. However, I noticed a lot of your presets, which is filters, by the way, in photography world. And so a lot of your presets and a lot of your portfolio does not have people of color. And she was like, sure it does. And let me tell you something. If I say something to you, it's probably because I hadn't already researched it. I said, well, of the 35 people you have on there, 3 are black. But okay.
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that. And she said, I just knew I had shot black people. I didn't realize it was such this gap. And she said, I'm sorry, I'm going to work on it. Her next shoot, I'm not saying she did this to me. Maybe she went and found some photos that she had people of color. She was posting people of color. And I respect her for that. And I told her, I said, you know what, I can respect that. And she said, I never want to be known as that person. That photographer that's out there that can't. And a lot of times it's not because people say, I don't want to shoot somebody that's black or brown. It's just they can't. They don't have, they're lazy. Let's just go ahead and call it. So that's another reason why I want to talk about those struggles. I want to talk about like why is there no presets? Why every preset works for me, but it doesn't work for you. Let's talk about that. And sped up answer is because they weren't created for you.
Right.
So we need black photographers and Latino photographers to get out there, Hispanic too. And so we need everybody to get out there and say, hey, let's create these presets. Let's work on it. Let's develop it for our people of our culture. And by the way, we'll get to that. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yes. And another thing to that, before we, I guess, dive into the last conclusion of questions, is like a lot of the times when people would ask me to do so, they want me to be sexy.
Yeah.
Especially with our culture. When I was, with a white photographer, they just want me to be pretty.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times when I would work with usual black or brown photographer, they're like, all right, do this, kind of make that face, or turn around and do this, because if you have a bigger butt or you have boobies, they want to be like that.
You got to see it, right?
They got to see it, but that's not what I can post on my page because my followers will tell me they don't like that.
Exactly, and that's amazing that you know that. A lot of people do not know what their followers do and do not like. So here's the thing. Some of that stuff is a wow factor.
Okay.
I've shot and posted women basically naked,
Yeah.
Definitely shot. One of my photos got shared by Calvin Klein, and this girl was in her
underwear. You guys
underwear.
got to see it.
But it was a dope picture, right?
But it didn't come off sexy to me.
Yeah,
it did. I didn't look. I looked like, okay, this is artistic from the angles. It didn't feel like that's what it was trying to convey.
Exactly, and I think that's why I got posted.
Okay.
Because it wasn't too raw for their followers. It wasn't like, okay. And I saw a lot of people do Calvin Klein after that I personally knew who were like, I want to do that. And it was a lot of like.
I definitely saw that too.
So, and it was one of those things. But what happened is that I've done some shoots where I've gotten stopped. Like, bro, I saw that picture. It was bomb.
Yeah.
I've also got the, hey, bro, I love that picture. Couldn't like it because my girl follows you too. And I didn't want her to see it. So some of those things.
Know your limits.
Exactly. And so what I noticed is I was like, it's cool. I'm getting wow factors.
Yeah.
But I had a person who, shout out to Henry Photography. He's in Colombia. Sorry, mine just slipped my brain. But his name slipped my brain. Who cares?
It's
we're
okay.
we're not even going to edit that out. So the point is this. He reached out to me. He said, bro, you should be charging more.
Yeah.
He said, I charge less than you. He said, I charge more than you, but your work is up there. He's like, you need to charge more. He said, but I want to give you a piece of advice. He said, some of the stuff you're posting is scaring off the real money.
Oh,
and
wow.
I did not get that. And so, now if you look, I used to get like, of course, Instagram and changed their algorithm 20,000 times, but I used to get, 700-800 likes. Now I'm only getting like 200 or 300 likes, but I'm cool with that because the people who have the money is coming up to me and saying,
Yeah.
let's work.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, and so why do black and brown photographers do that? Because a lot of times when you get started, you like, I just need to wow people and
Yeah.
they'll come. But what happens is you look at other photographers of different races, they already have like steps ahead of us.
Right.
In all parts of life, right? They just ganged up on us. They ganged
Their
up.
mom bought them their first camera,
Yeah, so
whereas
they're-
our mom was trying to make rent.
And
you
so
know?
they understand it. They
Right.
understand like the wow factor is cool, but that ain't where the money at.
Right.
So they're like, okay, y'all can have that. Oh, she wants to shoot nude, or this girl who has a beautiful gown on, you want her to pull it down a little bit, make sure her push-up bra has her cha-chas up
chin.
here. Like
Yeah.
they understand like you can have that. Guess what I'm gonna go do? I'm gonna go get this entrepreneur. I'm gonna go get this media host. I'm
Yeah.
gonna shoot her. I'm gonna have her put me on retainer, and I'm gonna just shoot her for a whole year
Yeah.
while you are finding the next whoever.
to put on
So
your
we don't
page.
piss nobody off.
So, so with that, I've learned so many great gems, and if you have heard or or seeing this is all about black and brown photography, catering to our audience of what we need, the do's, the don'ts, the paid and exposure.
Mm-hmm.
What is your statement? We know who Gavin is, but what would Gavin say?
I can tell you're a media host, by the way.
Why?
Let's throw that out there. Your questions are great. And so my statement, let me put it like this. The reason we have this podcast, one, that we can have a voice.
Yes.
I truly believe if nobody tells our stories, nobody would tell it if we don't.
So, no one will tell our stories if we
And
don't.
if you want your story to be told correctly, you better tell it.
Yes.
So when I'm looking at photographers I'm noticing photographers, especially those who are comfortable with me, which are black and brown photographers, that come up to me and they ask me questions. And I notice there's so many shortcuts that they can take to get better and to learn and to, this is for the photographers who are across the country who can't ask questions. Maybe you live in a state where it's not no one that looks like you or your age.
Wisconsin.
And so you can talk to them.
Michigan. Not Detroit.
So not Detroit. Detroit versus everybody. So anyway, saying like, hey, I want those photographers to say, hey, this is your cheat code. This is your step up. This is to help you. This is your learning curve right here. Like, let's go ahead. Let's get on that level. And plus, we've heard this as kids. Our people have a crab in a barrel mentality.
Sit down somewhere.
And we're not going to grow until we get out of that. So this is my gift to say, I want us to get out of that. I want us to say, hey, let's help out. Let's work together. Let me show you why you need to start shooting on manual ASAP. Let me tell you why.
I don't do that.
If you don't want to. She said I don't do that for anybody that didn't know. So saying like, hey, let's shoot on manual. Hey, this is why you need to invest in lenses before you get your next camera if you have a decent enough camera already.
Yeah.
This is why, let's say you're in college and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Right? This is why you need to say, hey, let me go to YouTube University. I've been preaching YouTube University for like 3 years, and I don't know why. I guess it's coming out. People can teach classes on YouTube, but this is like your YouTube University. But also, this is the other part of saying, let's grow, let's make moves. A lot of people don't know right now in Charlotte, no matter what business you're in, you can go to CPCC. They offer a business course, and it's like 10 business courses. You can go down there and learn everything from taxes to setting up your LLC to like how to file things, who you need to speak to, how to get contracts. If you're a black and brown photographer in Charlotte, North Carolina, they have a list for minority contractors and businesses and it's people who are in Charlotte are giving money to only give it to minority businesses.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about finding those contracts. So that's my statement there. This is Gavin University, paid in exposure University, whatever. It's all good.
And I want to say I am so thankful to be a part of this project. It's been an amazing experience because all too often we're not asked our story. We're not asked our why, and no one wants to know about who we are organically. And that's what makes this such a natural place to be.
Absolutely.
It's people for us, by us, that look like us, but we can cater to anybody, and that's what's most important. And so I want to say thank you so much. If you haven't seen I've been eyes and watching this beautiful wife walk around and just do her thing. That's
Shout
what
out
I'm
to the
talking
wife.
about. Couple power. Okay.
Like, shout out to, and I'm gonna say this about her. She really took my photography to the next stage. Like, that is
a good one.
I found a great one.
Get you a good one.
She was actually one of my first shoots. I did her graduation, and those pictures are awful. Me and her talk about that to this day. They're disgustingly awful.
Oh my God.
But I was just talking to her and telling her about my photography, and she came home one day. She was like, "Here's a photography class," and so I was like, "All right, well, I already know what I'm doing." I took your pictures, and being a man not listening, and I took that class, and it was the best thing that happened for me. And she was the one who elevated that, and she was like, "Yo, we gonna make money." And now I'm starting to listen more and more.
Yay,
so shout out to her.
gosh.
Shout out to you. I gotta thank you. People do not know you. I've watched you grow so much in the last year since I met you. I knew you before we shot, and I think we kind of came across each other because I was like, "Yo, why the hell we ain't shot yet?"
I know.
And we shot, and you were amazing, and your spirit was great. And I want to thank you for this because you could have told me no. You could have been like, "Who are you?"
I was fat when I shot those photos, you guys.
She was amazing. She was great. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you. And seeing your friends over. You got a camera, so let's talk about that with your 4 cameras, your 20,000 lights. Let's make it happen.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and y'all check me out. Please make sure y'all follow me. Paid Exposure on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you follow that. It's gonna be on Anchor. It's gonna be tagged somewhere in here. If you're watching this, I want to thank you, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. You can stop it, baby boo.
Time, Caroline.
Are you excited?